Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to KiniFlash. Sembrong MP Hishammuddin Hussein has dismissed the claim that he is pushing for a new government which could exclude DAP and Amanah. In a joint statement yesterday, Pakatan Harapan claimed that Hishammuddin and his colleagues should cease their campaign to promote their idea of a government without the participation of DAP and Amanah. The statement was jointly inked by Harapan Secretary General Saifuddin Abdullah, PKR Secretary General Saifuddin Nasution, Bersatu Secretary General Marzuki Yahya, Amanah Secretary General Anwar Tahir and DAP National Organizing General Anthony Lok. This is what Hishammuddin had to say about the matter today.
Siapalah saya ni? Saya tak ada pegang jawatan apa dalam parti kami pun. Jadi nak mempengaruhi parti kita untuk sekat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim menjadi PM, saya rasa tak masuk akal. Keduanya, parti kita ni parti pembangkang. Apa kena-mena dengan kedudukan Perdana Menteri? Jadi, kenapa dia fokus kepada kita dalam DN dan UMNO? Selainkan kalau dia rasa bahawa dia nak jadi PM, dia perlukan sokongan daripada Barisan Nasional dan UMNO. Dan kalau dia perlukan sokongan daripada kita, saya nak tanya sama ada dia tak yakin ke dengan sokongan daripada parti dia sendiri.
Following this, the DAP has also warned those defeated in the last general election not to attempt to return to power by using the back door. The party's organizing secretary Anthony Lok said that the mandate given to Pakatan Harapan in the last general election must be respected.
All is not well with them. Okay? Ini orang yang telah kalah di pilihan raya. Jadi hormatilah keputusan dan mandat daripada rakyat kepada kerajaan Pakatan Harapan. Jangan lupa mereka kalah dalam pilihan raya. Mereka ditolak oleh rakyat pada PRU yang ke-14. Jangan cuba nak menggunakan jalan belakang untuk kembali menjadi anggota kabinet.
When asked for his comments on those claims today, this is what Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said about those accused of planning to form a new government without DAP and Amanah.
Pakatan Harapan, Setiausaha Majlis Pakatan Harapan, issued a statement yesterday saying that asked DAP and Amanah from Pakatan Harapan, and they had said that Datuk Seri Hishammuddin, they had pinpointed Datuk Seri Hishammuddin and his people as the main ones who are pushing for a party without Amanah and DAP.
They can try. Thank you.
PKR President Anwar Ibrahim made veiled references about such an effort yesterday in the Dewan Rakyat when he was debating the Budget 2020 speech. Anwar inferred that former UMNO Vice President Hishammuddin Hussein was working on a plan and advised MPs not to fear threats of prosecution against them. However, he did not elaborate further. Home Affairs Minister Muhyiddin Yassin has called on the public to accord the Special Task Force time to probe the disappearances of Pastor Raymond Koh and social activist Amri Mat. He was responding to queries on the status of the investigations by the task force formed to look into the findings from the Human Rights Commission or Suhakam's public hearing. Koh was kidnapped by masked men in broad daylight in Selangor on the 13th of February 2017, while Perlis-based Amri was abducted in November 2016.
Mereka masih menjalankan tugas. Tempoh masa berakhir saya kurang ingat. Jadi kita bagi daripada tarikh lantikan sekarang ni sampai 6 bulan. Jadi sementara belum ada laporan balik pada kita. Jadi kita tunggulah tugas pasukan itu.
Students have the right to demonstrate, but a convocation ceremony may not be the right time or place to carry out such an action. This is what Dr. Mahathir said today when asked to comment on the actions of University Malaya student Wong Yen Ke, who had displayed a placard during his convocation ceremony demanding that University Malaya Vice-Chancellor Abdul Rahim Hashim resign. He also affirmed that the government has no intention of interfering in the matter. University Malaya has denounced the protest and also lodged a police report over his actions.
They can demonstrate, but there are other places to do that. But don't disturb a proper ceremony by trying to show that you have certain views. You can show those views elsewhere. I think that could be the stand taken by the university. I think we don't interfere too much with the university. They are free to make their own decisions.
Now, moving on to international news, rescuers are still searching for survivors in the aftermath of Typhoon Hagibis, which slammed into Tokyo and parts of central and eastern Japan. At least 15 people are still missing after Japan was rocked by Typhoon Hagibis 3 days ago, with the official death toll from the disaster rising to 66 on Tuesday as rescuers scramble in muddy waters to locate the missing. Over 200 people were injured as the storm swept across central and eastern Japan, leaving thousands of homes without electricity or clean water. The Fukushima prefecture was the worst hit when the storm overpowered some 14 levees along the Abukuma River. 25 people were killed in this prefecture alone. Police are now conducting house-to-house searches in the city of Koriyama in Fukushima to ensure that nobody was left behind or in need of help.
We've never seen damage like this before, so I personally think global warming and environmental changes has something to do with it.
Many of those who lost their lives in the flooding were the elderly, as rising floodwaters made it difficult to escape to higher ground. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said vast areas had been struck by the storm and called for urgent support to the affected. Tens of thousands of troops and rescue workers have been deployed to rescue residents and also to fight the floods brought by the storm. Meanwhile, in Turkey, the government has vowed to press ahead with its offensive in northern Syria, despite United States sanctions and growing calls from the international community for them to stop. Despite calls from the United States to stop, Turkey pressed ahead with its offensive in northern Syria on Tuesday. US President Donald Trump's unexpected decision to withhold protection from Syria's Kurds a week ago overturned 5 years of US policy on Syria and cleared the way for the Turkish incursion. Their decision to withdraw troops from northern Syria also allowed for their adversaries, namely Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his Russian and Iranian allies, to gain a foothold in territories that have been beyond their grasp. The US former Kurdish allies had immediately forged a new alliance with Assad's government, inviting the army into towns across their territory. Trump had announced a set of sanctions on Monday to persuade Turkey to reach a ceasefire and halt its offensive. However, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said that they were not worried about sanctions and would never declare a ceasefire. The United Nations says some 160,000 people have fled their homes as Turkish forces are advancing. The regional Kurdish administration puts the number of those displaced at 270,000. Now, before we wrap up, here are some other news highlights from today. And that's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. For more, you can log on to KiniTV.com. Don't forget that you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook and Daily Motion for the latest news. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching.